Hello everyone, Ethersong here. I am back with another Blue Protocol video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the elemental system and elemental burst mechanic. In Blue Protocol, there are 6 elements: fire, ice, lightning, earth, light, and darkness. In general, each class has a main element it is associated with. Many of their skills are linked to that element. The Blade Warden specializes in light, the Twin Striker fire, and the Keen Strider earth. The Spellweaver is unique in that it has access to 3 elements: fire, ice, and lightning. And finally, while the Foebreaker skill details have not yet been revealed, it appears to be associated with the earth element. Beyond skills, weapons can also have an elemental attribute. When attacking with an elemental weapon or using a non-elemental skill when wielding that weapon, it is possible to deal elemental damage of that weapon's type. Dealing elemental damage to foes causes buildup of an elemental gauge of the same type. This elemental buildup is divided into various levels. By reaching an elemental buildup level of 1 or 2, an elemental condition is applied to the foes. Details of the elemental status conditions can be seen here. Fire causes foes to gradually lose health. Ice decreases movement speed. Lightning occasionally inhibits actions. Earth increases damage the foe takes. Light decreases damage the foe deals. And darkness occasionally causes foes to miss. If an elemental buildup gauge reaches level 3, an elemental burst occurs. The effects of an elemental burst vary depending on the type of element causing it. For example, ice and earth can stop an enemy from moving by freezing or immobilizing it. The other elements don't completely stop movement, but do down the enemy. In addition to these effects, a new elemental burst gauge appears on the target. This elemental burst gauge is divided into 5 levels. Attacking and dealing damage to an enemy with this gauge causes it to fill. Raising this elemental burst gauge increases the damage of the final burst finisher. It should be noted that even without increasing the burst gauge, a burst finisher will occur automatically after a set amount of time. The effects of the burst finisher also vary depending on the element. Fire causes a large amount of damage. Ice and earth have already immobilized the target, allowing the party to deal damage more easily, so the burst finisher damage is not as high. Lightning causes damage and applies paralysis. Light causes damage and gives allies in the area regeneration. And finally, darkness causes damage and applies HP leak. HP leak is a unique condition that allows players to steal health from an enemy under its effects. Another thing to note is that players can also be affected by elemental bursts in the same way as foes. For example, if a player takes enough darkness damage, they would undergo a darkness elemental burst and be afflicted by HP leak during the burst finisher. Another example is if a player is afflicted with an ice or earth elemental burst, they will be immobilized and unable to avoid enemy attacks. However, as a unique mechanic, if a player is immobilized by ice or earth, allies can attack the ice or earth surrounding them to break them free from the elemental burst more quickly. In a similar fashion, while not related to elements, if a player is sleeping, allies can interact with them to wake them up. And this covers everything we know about the elemental system and elemental burst. One thing that I noticed is that it looks like there are currently no classes associated with the darkness element. Perhaps we will see one added later. And also perhaps there will be weapons or mystical echoes, formerly known as Battle Imagine, that can deal darkness damage. We will just have to wait to see. In any case, when forming a party, coordinating elements for elemental bursts looks to be an important mechanic. Depending on the type of enemies, switching between different elemental weapons or bringing more elemental skills will most likely be needed for higher level content. I'm looking forward to seeing how this mechanic works in more detail once the game launches. What do you think about this elemental system? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Later!